Hey everybody, what's up? Happy Halloween. I want to go over my trade real quick. I traded one ticker today, and I'm going to talk about another trade that I could have taken had I had the bandwidth, and probably would have, most likely. I mentioned it last night on my video yesterday. I traded one ticker, KIN, Kindred Biosciences. It's a biotech stock. It gapped up in the after hours yesterday after it released a press release on positive results from a pilot effectiveness study of its fully canonized IL-31 antibody treatment, basically for eczema in dogs, and it also got the patent on that. It gapped up 17% on that. It ended up gapping almost 20% the next morning, but or actually over 20%. I was bearish on this when I first saw this, though, because two reasons, really. One reason is it's the pilot that it ran, the results from a pilot. It's not actually a real study. They still have to run a real study in it. The second reason being that it is in dogs, which is a smaller market, obviously, for drugs. Not by much. People spend a lot of money on their pets now, especially nowadays, but it still is smaller at this point in time. So I was bearish. I actually took some short yesterday and added more this morning, but talk about that real quick. Another reason I was bearish on this is Shane Blackman, Shane at Trader Tex-Mex on Twitter. He came out and had this tweet last night. Kin had a similar pilot effectiveness trial announce positive results on May 30th in horses, where the stock didn't even move a dime. It's still not a real pivotal study. No short interest. 500,000 shares on 33 million outstanding. Can't even see this settling out tomorrow above $13. So he released that last night, tweeted that. He was bearish on it. And by the way, Shane Blackman is probably the best follow on Twitter, in my opinion. He is really good. So if you guys don't follow him, I would highly recommend following him and probably even having his tweets sent to your phone. They're that valuable. He's very good. But he came out last night, kind of confirmed my thesis after I saw that. So I actually took some short, and because I didn't want to miss it. I do not recommend doing this, but I took a small position, kind of a starter, and then this morning, I took more as it spiked pre-market, and you'll notice that it spiked on low volume and then spiked above that after hours level on low volume as well the next morning, which is one of my signs for bearishness on gappers. And it did sell off in the morning. I covered it up in pieces and tried to hold a little bit because I'm working on being patient, trying to hold these faders for at least all day or multiple days, trying to capture more of the downside. It stopped me out when it perked through VWAP, but still a decent gain for me on this. It ended up coming back and breaking high a day barely. So the bull thesis on this, I think, is that, and the reason it didn't move for horses is that the drug for horses is a very small market cap, or a very small market for that drug compared to the market that the drug in dogs would have. Even though it's the same, it's going to be much bigger for dogs. So that was one reason. Then also, Cantor Fitzgerald came out this morning with a $25 price target raised from $20. So that helped it out a lot. It came out with 10.45 is when that happened. So I was all covered up right after that shortly. And it's a good trade. I think that this could probably go higher. It was extremely, extremely thin. Even though it traded all this volume, it was hard for me to cover for some reason. I'm not sure if it was issues with Interactive Brokers, my broker, or if it was just very thin and hard to get executed. So that was one trade. The other trade that I mentioned last night was KMPH, Chem Farm, and Jake covered this on his show this morning, Behind the Bid. talked about how this was gapping up and that had an at the market or at the money offering in place. And as you can see, really nice all day fader here. Had I had all my focus on trading today, I probably would have taken this as well, but I was doing other things, so didn't get to trade this. But it would have been a great short, pre-market or even right at the open, and just cover as soon as it tested red. So that one gapped up on a license agreement with KVK Tech for their drug Apidaz, their pain management drug. And they only got 3.4 million up front, and they had, I think, they're like a $30 million market cap, but they had about $10 million left on their at the market offering. So not surprised that this sold off. If you took this trade, congrats. And I hope the trading day on this Halloween went well for you guys. I am excited to get back to it tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys in the chat tomorrow.